أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى إن سعيكم لشتى. Surah Al-Layl, according to your opinion, this is number 9 in Revelation after Surah A'la, Sabbih Isma Rabbika Al-A'la. This is the pair of the previous surah that we have done, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا. There are so many similarities in both the surahs, especially the way the witnesses that have been brought. Like how the differences in the previous surah and the shawahid, they're completely opposite to each other. It brings the claim of the surah to the light. Same thing in this surah. The opposite of things have been mentioned, the night and the day, the male and the female. So the opposites, like how it was in the previous, same thing is happening in this surah. So there are so much resemblance, and the ulama say that it leads to this opinion that both these surahs were revealed at similar time. What is the claim of this surah? Who remembers what was the claim of the previous surah? لا أقسم بهذا البلد والشمس وضحاها. The creed, your aqidah. People will have different types of aqidas, different types of creeds. So that was the difference. You have different creeds, it will result in different types of fate. You will have different natija, you will have different fruit that you will achieve because of that creed. Now in here, it is a'mal. So that's the difference, yeah? People are working, they were laboring, and they have their own things to do. One is doing one source of action, the other are doing another source of action. Both will have their own end result. Both will have their own natija. Does that make sense? So that's the only difference. So the first was the Abdullah, which one was the وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا? Yes, and in this surah, A'mal. Okay, so remember this, yeah? Now let's break down the surah. Look at the ayats. So from till ayah number 5, in there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring two witnesses. Basically, there are 4 or 5 shawahid, qasams, oaths. So they are like the day and night, male and female. Like how they are different, same is the case with your action. They are different. 5 to 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned 2 groups, the pious one, and there are 3 good a'mal of them that have been mentioned. 3 specific good a'mal that they do, good actions. 8 to 11, the evil group, the criminals have been mentioned, and 3 evil action of them have been mentioned. So there was the pious for 3, and in here is 3 as well. 12 to 13, the 2 ayats. In here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages toward the Quran, which gives you the tool, which will let you know, which will give you the differentiation between the good deeds and the evil deeds. Does that make sense? Have you understood so far, yeah? So this is 12 to 13. 14 to 16, now if you ignore this Quran and you continue on your own way, then here is coming a warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is taqweef ukhrawi. And in here 3 traits have been mentioned. And lastly, 17 to 21, the other group is mentioned, the pious one, the good deeds one. And Allah give them glad tidings, and Allah mentions 5 of their good qualities. So remember the previous was the actions, yeah? They were the a'mal. Now here are their good habits. Does that make sense? They're different. So one are a'mal and the other are habits, what they have, what they really made out of basically. All mankind basically in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are in 2 groups. They are not in multiple groups, they are in 2 groups. Those who are pious and those who are not pious. Those who believe in Allah and those who do not believe in Allah. No matter if they are called Christian or they call Jew, they call Barelwi, they call Deobandi, they call Hanafi, Shafi, whatever they are called. That is not relevant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, the thing which stands with Allah is the one who believe in Allah truly and the one who do not believe in Allah. So this what stands with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So two groups basically. The first group will have the following qualities. Number one, they will have generosity. And this generosity is not in the wealth, basically. We'll expand on this when we reach there. This, they will have this quality. The other, they will have taqwa. And taqwa is not just the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the main core, main essence of it. This is what it is. That you are cautious at all time, basically. This is what it comes to. Being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, you will be ready to accept the truth as soon as it's being presented to you. So these three qualities you need to have. Then you are in the group that is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, if you are in the other group that has been mentioned, they are like the complete opposite of them have been mentioned. So number one, what is going to be? Against, what is against generosity? Bukhul, yeah? Stinginess. That's what is going to be there. That's one. And those people who think they need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically in their life, that's why they are conscious of Allah. So what is going to be the quality of these groups? Trait of this group. What is the opposite of being in need? Careless. It doesn't care. Yeah? That's so it's going to be another one. And lastly, what is the opposite of the one who accept? What is the opposite of the one who does not accept? Yeah? He doesn't think that his ways are better way, basically, what he believes in, whether it is his motives or whether it is the cultures that they have believed in or what it is the lands that he's belonged from, their ways are the best ways. And at the end, from ayah number 12 till the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala announces the fate of each of these gurus, basically. We will do that when we go there. Now linking, so the previous surah ends, the last ayah, we link it always with, I try to link it with the last ayah, so it becomes like one coherent statement. You just move on to the next surah. So the last ayah, it says وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا. Basically, need is meaning Allah does not fear any consequences thereof. So He is not afraid of someone standing up, or He is not afraid of making any wrong decision, basically. So if you were to, this is the understanding now, yeah, that He does not fear any consequences. Now in here it stands from وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. So now this shows that He is the master at the beginning, and in here it shows further of His abilities, meaning He has the control of everything. So now I'll give you examples so you can understand how rational is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken in the previous surah, and this is the evidence that has been given in the next surah. Basically, it makes sense. Like for example, this belongs to me, yeah, this tablet. I throw it at the wall and I break it. Would it file any complaints against me? No. Something belongs to me, I do whatever I do with it. Would it have any say in their resistance? No, because it belongs to me. I can do whatever I can do with it, and it's not going to have say whatsoever. Or take another example that you can understand, yeah? When it comes to a thing which has conscience. You work with a company, yeah? You have an employer, basically. And this employer has decided for you that you need to do these certain tasks. You got T and C's that you need to live under, yeah? Terms and conditions that you need to follow. Otherwise, your employment is nullified. If you do not do it, he fires you, he removes you from the job. Will you have any case against the employer? Yes or no? You can't. Yeah, you can tire yourself, but you're not going to get anything out, yeah? Same thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent His orders. He has sent this entire book, this entire T and C's for you to live. You do not obey, the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and it destroys you. Will you have any say? No. وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا. Does that make sense? Like it says, وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. The one who has created male and female. And male and female applies to everything. Does that make sense? Meaning the entire creation. I hope that made sense. There are amazing other things that we can talk about. Okay, one more. And then we'll move on to the surah, because surah itself contains too many things, and the linking that we have is so beautiful. It explains the surah itself. In the previous surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, talking about the two groups, basically. The one who is fujur, and the other one who is taqwa, yeah? Who has piety, basically. So taqwa and fujur, two groups have been mentioned. And when you say how many groups are in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Two. Yeah, so two groups have been mentioned. And here the two groups have been mentioned again. لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى. Ashqa and وسيجنبها الأتقى. Two groups have been mentioned. But you see, Allah has given a different name to the criminals, yeah? And there was fujur. But in here is ashqa. Well, it points at one thing, yeah? And the pious are given the same name, atqa. Meaning the pious, the people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always have one face. No matter where they belong from, whether they were the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam, whether they were the followers of Isa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi, whoever they were, but they had the same title, Muslim, meaning believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had this atqa title, that they fear God, they were conscious of God. However, all the other, they will have different faces, they will have different colors and things like that. They will recognize themselves with different things. However, the pious, they will only recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will be with Allah throughout. Even in the name change, it signifies what the people believe in. So it's like the image of that has been given. And one more, yeah, and then it'll make sense to you, because this relates to the actual message of the both surahs. And there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, that Allah has inspired the soul with the knowledge of doing whatever the criminal attitude one can choose, the wrong, and the one who can choose the atqa, the one who can choose the piety. Basically, you can choose either. Basically, this has been given to you. Now in here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes even further. He goes further, yeah. Inna alayna lal huda, meaning on me, Allah takes the responsibility. It is like on him that he gives hidayah, he gives guidance. What does that do? It changes it from one perspective to another. Like Allah has taken the responsibility to let you know and to have faculties, to have systems within you that you can recognize Allah, that you can recognize what is right, what is wrong in your life, no matter who you are. Now on Day of Judgment, no one can say, no one going to have any excuse whatsoever that I did not know this. Because Allah has taken the responsibility himself. So he will never fail. Does that make sense? Is that understood? So he has increased in this, that you are liable for whatever you do yourself. You will be held accountable because you chose the wrong way. It was not put on you because of the cultures, because of the societies. It's because you chose the wrong path. You knew what was right, you knew what was wrong. Even though you understood, you wanted to choose the easy path, just follow the culture, just follow the way of people. Yeah, people, everyone is going to pub, just enjoy and go to the pub. Everyone is lying and cheating, so you do that as well. Just have a chill life. Everyone is cheating from government, you can cheat as well. Everyone is doing whatever they're doing, so you can just follow. But you know it was wrong, so you chose. Yeah, does that make sense? You chose, so you are responsible, and Allah has taken that responsibility, meaning Allah does not fail with any human being. Does that make sense? Is that understood? Okay, and there are so many others, but we'll just leave it to this. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the one who controls, the one who has control in this dunya and in akhirah. Wa inna lana lal akhirata wal ula. Ar-Rahman, the entirely merciful, he has explained the easy and hard paths. Is the Ar-Rahim, the especially merciful, he has described the pious with 5 amazing qualities. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى, by the night when it covers. So this is that the night covers the creation, or it covers the sun. So either way, the night comes and it takes over. There are so many benefits of the nights, yeah, that we all aware of. We do not need to even repeat, yeah, but just so you can understand, yeah. This is a time which is for you to relax, basically, to refresh, to recharge, go to sleep, relax, come fresh, basically, so you can stand up again and then do whatever you need to do, yeah. And in here is a great mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well on all human beings, that he has made this night as a cover for all, so all can sleep at around same time. Does that make sense? So all can sleep at around same time, all get tired at around same time, and they all sleep at same time. So if they were to sleep and choose their own timing, basically, there could have been lots of problems. Like someone wanted to sleep at whatever time, meaning they were not set this timetable of sleeping. Like we all know who's not aware that most people sleep at night. MashaAllah, all know, yeah, that most of the people sleep at night. So you relax at the same time. If you are not, for example, your brother, your father, they all sleep at wrong times, your mom and things like that, they will all not have the same kind of mindset. One will be tired, the other one will be fresh. The fresh wants to talk about their life, and the one who is tired does not want to hear anything. So there will be problems upon problems and so on. So Allah has made this amazing system that all of you sleep at the same time. So all of you are fresh and all of you are at the same stage. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's amazing. You can just ponder over the way Allah has done things, the system that Allah has done, and you can take the benefits out. You can do that in your own time. Yeah. Continue to the next ayah. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى. And the day when it appears. Like these two things, yeah, the day and the night goes hand in hand. In one you refresh, the other one you tire yourself, you work. Like in one you chill out, you have done your rest, now you're going to use your brain, what you have been thinking about. Maybe when you wanted to sleep you had lots of things to think about, you were pondering over some sort of idea, some sort of business plan. Now you're going to implement that during the day. Does that make sense? So it is a cycle which is required. This day and night is required for you as a human being. It is required for the creation as well, for the plants and things to grow. So it is a need. The night and the day are in need of each other. Same thing in here, like how the counterpart, they're completely different, but they are in need of each other. Same thing. This dunya, it needs to have a different counterpart. Does that make sense? Like a day has a counterpart which is night, night has a day. Same thing, dunya needs to have hereafter. It needs to have that. Otherwise it's meaningless. It's not going to have any purpose. Everyone are doing whatever they're doing, and there is no accountability. No one is being rewarded, and no one is getting held. Yeah, so it becomes purposeless. Continuing to next ayah. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنْثَى. And he who created the male and female. In here there is lots of talk, yeah, but I'll summarize, and you would already know these things, yeah, you have studied, you know some sort of sciences, yeah, in the schools and things like that. One is like how the male and female comes to existence by itself, yeah, so it could hint at that. But in here it says by he who created, and it can be changed to by the mystery basically of the creation of male and female. You're talking about the amazing creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how it comes to existence. One, you find out the reasons, yeah, basically looking at the genes, the X and Y's and Y's and Y's and so on, yeah, finding out, oh, this is the reason for it coming to be a male and a female, yeah. This is one thing you're finding out, yeah, this is the reason. However, who put this X and Y and these faculties in these cells to come? Where did they came from? Are these all just coincidence and upon coincidence that's happening and people are coming to life and so on, and male and female are happening? No, it's not. There has to be a controller, and this applies to every single thing. You ponder over it and you come to this conclusion. And in here there is another, that Allah has created male and He has created female, meaning in them Allah has created harmony. In them each male find peace with female and female find with male. That's why people get excited when they get married, yeah, or they want to get married, because they have need for each other, yeah. When those people who become what you call it, mature, yeah, they have need. Everyone has a need. So there is a reason Allah has created male and female. And there is so much talk. There is other talk that relates to things which I think it's not the appropriate time, but just go forward. Like those people who have other desires, we can talk about that, but maybe you're not available for that because you seems to be asleep. Going to ayah number 4. Inna sa'yakum lashatta. Indeed, your efforts are diverse. Like how those things were completely different, same thing, your actions. And we have studied this in the other surah, I think Surah Shaqaq. Ya ayyuhal insanu innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih. O mankind, indeed you are laboring toward your Lord with exertion and will meet it. The sense is that man, by his nature, is used to do some sort of labor. You have to move on, you have to do something. But now, if you align that with Quran, if you align that with the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will have a different goal, you will have a different end result than the one who does not have any motives, who does not have any path basically. Does that make sense? Is that understood? You are going to go out during the day and labor and work and bring money to your family and look after them, and someone else is going to do the same thing. But you have a different mindset. You are doing this because Allah has given you this responsibility. So now every minute that you're spending outside working, wherever you are working, you're going to getting ajr for it. However, this person who goes out there because he has to earn, no matter, he does not care about any boundaries, anything like that, and he earns and he provides for the family. So both have struggled, both have done the labor, but they are completely different in the sight of Allah. Does that make sense? Okay. And there is a hadith, beautiful hadith, which is related to the people of Quran. This long hadith, but I have got just the little clip of it. It's in Tirmidhi, where it says, وَالْقُرْآنُ حُجَّةٌ لَكْ أَوْ عَلَيْكَ كُلُّ النَّاسِ يَغْدُو فَبَائِعٌ نَفْسَهُ فَمُعْتِقُهَا أَوْ مُوبِقُهَا. And the Quran is a proof for you or against you. So this shows, yeah, those people who labor with Quran and those people who labor against Quran. You stand against Quran, the Quran will stand against you. You stand with Quran, the Quran will stand with you. Does that make sense? And all people shall come to the morning selling their souls, either setting it free or destroying it. Does that make sense? You go out, everyone is going out during the morning, yeah, when they wake up, basically, when they have refreshed, they go out and work. They go out and do so many things. Some of them destroy it, and other people free it from shaitan. And there come so many ayat in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points that you have not been created in vain. Your deeds have not been just left like this. I mean, you are worthy in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, everything that you do is going to be audited. It's going to be given its right reward, basically, or consequences. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Then did you think that we created you uselessly and that to us you will not be returned? In a different place, أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. Then we will treat the Muslims, the one who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who works toward Allah, who is obedient, basically, like the criminal. What is basically the matter with you? How do you judge? Meaning this is completely irrational. It's just stupidity of people that they think those people who work for Allah and those people who work against Allah are the same thing, basically. Or أَمْ نَجْعَلُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَالْمُفْسِدِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَالْفُجَّارِ. Subhanallah. أَمْ نَجْعَلُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَالْمُفْسِدِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ نَجْعَلُ الْمُتَّقِينَ كَالْفُجَّارِ. Or should we treat those who believe and do righteous deeds like corruptors in the land? Or should we treat those who fear Allah like the wicked? Yeah, does that make sense? What is happening here? Yeah, like it says, إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى. Your deeds, indeed your efforts are diverse. They are different in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is working toward Allah and the other one is going from Allah. Ayah number 5. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى. As for he who gives and fear Allah. Gives in here is the right of everything, basically. Yeah. So this is, you have understood, like the summary of what the give is. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to you the two groups. In this we will be able to learn how many a'mal we said at the beginning? 3, yeah, remember, 3. The last is the a'mal are 3, yeah. The actions are 3, the habits are 5, which I'm mentioning at the end. So 3 a'mal. Tafseer ibn Kathir says, أي أعطى ما أمر بإخراجه واتق الله في أموره. Meaning he gives what he has been commanded to give and he fears Allah in his affair. Now understand what is a'ta. Basically, to do. What do you do? When Tawheed has been presented to you, yeah, like it was presented to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and it was presented to Abdullah ibn Ubay, basically, yeah, one of the criminal. Both said La ilaha illallah. Both believed in La ilaha illallah. However, the implementation, the living part of it was different. One of them became Siddiq and the other one became the head of the Munafiqeen. Even though both said La ilaha illallah. However, their actions were different. One lived it and the other one only said it with the tongue. So does that make sense? A'ta, meaning you are ready to implement what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. As I mentioned, to do things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And the example of that, the ulama gives, yeah, like we have mentioned previously, a land which gives agriculture and a stony land. When the Quran or when the rain comes and it hits the agriculture land, yeah, where the soil and the seed can grow, it will give fruit, it will give vegetation. Same thing is, it needs to be you, your iman. You have accepted Islam, you need to be ready now, you need to be able to implement. When the Quran comes, it will work in you, it will enlighten, it will grow in you. However, if your heart is like rock, if it's like a desert, no matter how much Quran is being presented to you, no matter how many times you say La ilaha illallah, will it have any effect? No, zero effect whatsoever. Going to the next ayah, the next part, which is wattaqa, the second good amal, which is the taqwa of Allah. What is taqwa? It is, in simple terms, to avoid things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want you to do. So like you restrain yourself. And I think there is a narration which I heard a long time ago. I'm not sure how authentic it is, but I think I have seen in some of the Tafseer. Someone asked Umar radiallahu ta'ala, one of the Sahaba, that what is taqwa basically? And he responded like how a person who works in a thorny plan or path, yeah, and there are these thorns and things like that in the trees, and he grabs his clothes and tucks it in, and then he walks. Yeah, he controls himself from these thorns and things like that. Same thing, a person who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will grab himself from all sorts of direction, that his whims and desire, his culture, his society and things like that do not take him away. Like these, they are from shayateen of ins and jinn, yeah, both. So these thorns do not hit him. He protects himself. So same thing a Muslim meant to do when it comes to the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will implement, like he says, a'ta, he will do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and then he will avoid anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to avoid. Does that make sense? He will not change his path. Continue to the next. وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and believe in the best. Tafseer al-Sa'adi. Oh, there was one more point, yeah, which is important. One of the Mufassir of Quran, he's in Pashto, yeah, and he says, and he translates this, and he says, Allah palar ki warkai awzan de bidatununa sati. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى, he gives, and wattaqa, he control himself from doing any source of innovations, bid'ats basically. So you can give basically. In here, the giving, it is only referred to giving in the path of Allah that is acceptable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can give in like milad, you can give in places which are built for maybe for matams and things like that. Yeah, you can give in there. But is this acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. Or like for example, yeah, so simple example you can give. Like someone is fasting, yeah, someone is fasting and you organize a big feast for the people. Yeah, big amazing feast. Go everything in there. But in the thing which you're cooking, yeah, in the big digche, what they call it, bucket, what they call it, pot, yeah, in there you put some sort of urine in it as well. Is that going to be something acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Even the people are not aware what you have put in there. But is that something which is good? Like you give milk with urine, you give something which nullifies what you're doing basically. Same thing, you will do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do, and you will do it with purity. They're not going to be any other leniency given to it. Okay, going to the ayah we just recited. وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and believes in the best. Tafsir al-Sa'adi says that is, he believes in La ilaha illallah, meaning Tawheed, and all that it points to of religion, beliefs, and all that it leads to of reward in the hereafter, meaning every goodness. This is what وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى is basically. Now, you have affirmed the truth. So, for example, you are doing some sort of bid'at, or you're doing some sort of wrong actions, you don't understand something, and someone comes to you, no matter who they are basically, whether they are younger than you or elder than you, they are from a different clan, they have different face and color, whatever they are. But they come and they present to you Quran, that this is the way of Quran, this is the way of the Sunnah. Let's implement our lives, let's change our lives. Now you accept or you reject, this is going to decide whether you are Muslim in the sight of Allah, or you are a person who worships his own whims and desires, or his cultures, or their own father ways. Does that make sense? وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, meaning you are ready to accept that which is right, even if it's against you. Like someone I'm talking about Quran and something like that, and one of you stands up and says, this is what you said is wrong. Here the Quran is saying something different. You are saying something wrong. If I do not accept, I'm sitting here in front of the Quran, I'm talking about the Quran, and I'm saying that I'm teaching Quran and so on, I am actually following the footsteps of shaitan. I see myself bigger than the Quran. I see myself bigger than the truth. So I cannot be part of this title which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى. Like it comes later on, yeah? وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى. These pious, I cannot be from those people. Is that understood? So you are ready to accept the truth as soon as it is presented to you. Are we here, yeah? Now to put all three together, you can understand it easily. A'ta, the three things that we're talking about, yeah? The other which are coming later on will become easier for you to understand. A'ta, you will do whatever has been ordered to you, which is from Iman, Ikhlas, Tawbah, Shukr, spending in the path of Allah, all these. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is one. Number two, Wattaqa is leaving all sins and crimes basically. Does that make sense? Is that understood? Number three, وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, believes in Tawheed, reward, and so on. Yeah. So basically, everything, like all this becomes your Sharia. Or the three things basically. You do what have been ordered, you avoid which has been restricted from you, and you affirm what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى, you will do all the good things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. Yeah. So you are ready for this. You will avoid everything that are wrong, that are crimes, that are sins, that are whims and desires, that are the ways of the culture, the way they're doing their weddings, and the way they do their deads, the way people take mortgages, the way people do so many things. You will avoid all that filth. And then if someone says, oh, you are wrong in this part, so you need to sort this out. Quran and Sunnah says this, you will say, Amanna, and accept, yeah, wasallamna, I have accepted. So you will accept and you will believe. I hope the point is pretty clear. And there are so many things in this that we skipped, but I hope you have understood clearly anyway. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. This is ayah number 7, yeah, we skipped. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. We will ease him toward ease. Now understand, there is so much talk in here, yeah? But in simple terms, in Akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ease this person toward Jannah, meaning what he has done, he has followed the syllabus that Allah has sent to him. So this is an easing toward the Jannah. In this dunya will be the implementation of Quran, living the Quran basically. This will become easy for him. And in other way of understanding, the person who gives basically, yeah, the one who is generous, the one who is ready to whatever skills that he has basically, whether he has the skill of his brain, his tongue, like nowadays, yeah, people who fight and they have problems and things like that, they go to this person who has sharp tongue basically. He can use this hikmah kind of tongue, and this guy will speak to this group and this group and that group. So this guy is living what he has been given basically with the blessing. Some people have been given knowledge, some people have been given skills and craftsmanship and things like that. They use it for the sake of Allah. So this is from a'ta basically. So this person who gives basically in this dunya, the person who has wealth and he gives, in this dunya, even if he is living in the worst of the societies, the corrupted of the society, the people who are ready to kill for little things basically, yeah, who are ready to steal from people's houses and things like that. If someone is living even in that locality, and this guy, he is generous to the people, he gives, he does not look down upon the people, he is ready to help out, and he's available at all time, would people love him or people would hate him? Love him. They would admire this guy. They would be like him. They would, if he comes to a gathering, he would be like, they would be given a seat to the guy. Yeah, he shouldn't do it for this purpose, but this is the honor. So his life has become easy. And then we will be able to learn when we can just do the ayah so you can understand. Yeah, the other people where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the criminals. Yeah, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. They will be eased toward difficulties. In Akhirah, of course, Jahannam, which is the place of difficulties. But in this dunya, this rich person who has lots of wealth and things like that, he restricts and he looks down upon the people. Yeah, maybe he is liked by his similar kind of mindset, the capitalist kind of people. But the poor people in the land, they will look for every opportunity to they would not like this person. Yeah, if someone steals from him, or someone rob his house, or someone cause him some sort of harm, they will be content. Yeah, it's good, he deserved this. Yeah, it's that kind of mentality. So his life will become miserable in this dunya as well as in akhirah. Does that make sense? So I hope that point is clear. Now in here, what is easiness in dunya basically? In akhirah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eases a person. Allah says in Quran, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. And indeed, Allah is with the doer of good. وَالَّذِي جَاهَدُوا فِينَا. If you strive, as long as you strive, this is the condition, yeah? As long as you strive, as long as you are there and you want it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make path easy for you. Like he says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. So you need to have the wants, then the Quran is easy for you. If you do not want something, if you do not go out for it, and then you expect the victories and the help of Allah, the provision that will drop from the skies and things like that, then this is called a sheer stupidity, and Allah subhanahu does not go against His sunnah, the way He does things. So you will do everything in your capacity, then the easiness will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is like you, Allah will make you reach your potential. It is not some sort of help that you can expect, that you sit in the masjid and you read lots of Quran, you think something amazing going to happen to you. This is not how it works. You will do everything in your capacity for that specific job, then you can expect the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is from basically making you reach your potential. How does it work? We have given example of this previously. Yeah? A boxer, a footballer, a guy who does basketball and things like that, this guy trains and trains and trains and trains and do things, then whatever he is doing, it becomes easy for him. Yes? So this, Allah has put these things in him. He is able to reach his potential. He is able to withstand so many jabs and whatever, yeah? Because he worked. He did وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا. He did he strove. Then he is able to reach. Meaning if you work, Allah will not deprive you. Is that understood? Yeah, do not expect to have angels around you. Do not expect that you will have like sword from somewhere. Yeah, that will be standing there, yeah, to protect you. No, you will work. You will make yourself stand up basically. Then the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come. And there is lots of other talk in here, but we leave it to this point. But one point, yeah, in the previous surah, in the other surahs, yeah, like it's in Surah Balad, which we have done just before, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا. In there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَقَتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. This difficult pass. And this difficult pass is the one which is acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here it says, وَنُيَسِّرُكَ لِلْيُسْرَى. Easy. So how is it relevant? How does it make sense? One place it says difficult, the other it says it is easy. How can anyone rectify it? You can rectify it in your own time, but it's just maybe you go too much pressure on you. But you have already understood the point basically. It will seem difficult. Like how a person who starts boxing and things like that, he sees it difficult. Someone who's about to lose weight and he is fat and heavy, he sees it difficult, but he gives in and he does everything, it becomes easy for him. Then coming back to fatness, then becoming unfamiliar will become hard. Same thing, this person who works, he sees there are so many difficulties that he needs to break. There are so many shackles that he needs to break. He needs to avoid so many events. He needs to avoid so many prom parties and this wedding party and this gathering of the people who does bid'at and things like that. Yeah, all these are difficult. All these are strange for him. But as soon as he joins the path of Allah subhanahu, he will enjoy. Even it might be difficult, but every single thing that he goes through, it will be like he's enjoying basically. Yeah, he will enjoy what he is doing. So it will become easy. Even though it seems hard, but when he comes out on this path, it will become easy for him. Like we understand in every aspect of whatever kind of job that you do, whatever kind of education that you start. It seems hard, but once you have understood, once you have made it 100% intention, it becomes easy for you. You can achieve. And Allah helps you out on that way as well. Going to ayah number 8. وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى. But as for he who withholds and considers himself free of need. So we said, yeah, the other group was the pious. This is now the criminals. Three traits of these have been mentioned which are completely opposite of the pious. And Ali ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he says, أي بخل بماله واستغنى عن ربه عز وجل. This is in Tafseer ibn Kathir, yeah? That Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, this means he is stingy with his wealth and consider himself to be in no need of his Lord, the mighty, the majestic. And what is this bukhal basically, as we have mentioned previously, that it is not bukhal the way we understand, yeah, the one who spends. It's, what did they call it? Niggardliness, yeah, niggardliness or stinginess. The name even dances, yeah. This person dances with wealth. Okay, so this person who spends, but he might spends in wrong places. He spends on lavish events, lavish weddings, booking 5-star hotels for this birthday party and Father Day and Mother Day and this Milad Day and that Milad Day, yeah? All these are Milad's Day, yeah? These birthdays, they are Milad of the kids anyway. They have these birthdays basically. So all these rubbish that people spend on, and then he expects that you have spent. This is not the expending meaning, is the one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. The one where you meant to spend in the path of Allah, even if you have spent little, but you could only do that, then you are not from bukhal. If you couldn't even spend anything, you don't have anything, but you have the desire to spend, you are not from the bakhil. You are different. You are from the generous. It is what you can do with the capacity that Allah has given to you. Does that make sense? Is that okay? So this is the point that we meant to understood. And this we have discussed this issue, yeah. Those people who even spend in the wrong places, they do it for PR stunts. Maybe they will give it to some sort of iftar parties. They will put their name in the list. Haji, engineer, this sahib has organized this kind of a party on this day, yeah. And then in the Imam Sahib will make an announcement that do not miss this amazing party, or do not miss this amazing food this person has bought, yeah. So this is might be the reason the people do it, yeah. I hope you understand the point, you are aware. So this is PR stunts basically. They do it for a purpose. This is not acceptable to Allah. Allah doesn't have anything to do. They have done it for the people have ate it, and they have done claps for them. They have received their share in this dunya. And what was the other point in here? Wastaghna, and who sees himself free of need from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically, which is completely opposite of the other person. Meaning he considered himself, his ways are the ways. It is his ways or the highways, yeah, basically, yeah, my way or the highway. So that kind of mentality this person has. Whatever he believes in, whether it is the culture that he has brought from Africa or from Afghanistan or Pakistan, whatever he is, this is the criterion. No matter how much Islam or how much Quran you present to him, he will bind it into this. That this meant to be the way, we can leave this to aside. And sometimes, you know, even this is from the cultures, you must have heard this again and again, especially those people who are from the land where I am from, yeah. They will come to conclusion, and sometimes they come to a decision basically, yeah. And they will tell you, do you want to judge this with Pashto, or you want to judge this with Sharia? Meaning, who stupid gave you the permission that you can judge it with Pashto basically? But this is just the stupidity. This is people seeing themselves above. These are the people who sees their culture and their way in the system high in their eyes. These are the criminals in the sight of Allah. No matter what their names are. Their names are Abdul Rahman, Abdullah, Hamid, it doesn't matter. This person does not believe in Allah. He sees the way and the Sharia of Allah lower than his culture and his ways and his systems and the way he does things. Does that make sense? Is that understood? So this is wastaghna. And the last ayah, which relates to the third trait of these criminals, وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and denies the best. Like we said, yeah, he prioritizes his own ways. When Quran and Sunnah and Sharia is presented to them, that is secondary. That does not have any value in his sight. Whatever he believes in, that's the best. Basically, this person does not have any desires for akhirah. He does not see any goodness in akhirah. That's why he has this kind of mentality. Or like a capitalist, yeah? He will work in every single way to earn this wealth, to no matter which way it is. Whether it's under Sharia or against Sharia, whatever it is, but he will earn and he will do things. And one Sheikh give example of this, yeah? Maulana Sindhi, yeah? Remember the name. He gives example, beautiful example, but it is in Urdu, and I'll change it in English so you can understand. He gave an example of a farmer who plows the soil, the land, with the buffaloes, oxen, whatever they are, yeah. And in this one day, he takes these animals out and he makes them tired and then do it throughout. These animals are, maybe they will fall off and they will die and they become ill because of this trouble that this person is putting in, and he does not care, he does not nourishes, he does not give any provision, he does not give any water, and he continue to work them, make them work, and so on and so on, so he can achieve whatever he can achieve in this one day. And this is his only motive. He does not care of the looking after these animals for another day. Does that make sense? So this is like his motive, that whatever he can achieve with this, he will do that. Or like maybe some nowadays you have these racing cars, whatever, and they do whatever they do with it, or like you completely destroy all its potential just for this one day, for this one specific time. Have you understood the point? Yeah, meaning there is no hope for them for another day. Same thing is the mentality of the criminals when it comes to dunya and akhirah. They will destroy all their potential, they will do whatever they can do just for this one day, just for this dunya. They do not have whatsoever desires for akhirah. Meaning these criminals, these evil people, these capitalists who are known as so clever and mighty and they have amazing business mindset and so on, they are more stupid and more simple than this farmer who understand that I need to give rest to these buffaloes, I need to give rest to these things so they can help me out the next day. Is that understood? I hope you have understood. Okay. Ayah number 10. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. We will ease him toward difficulties, and we have already talked about this, yeah? And there is an ayah which explains it better. فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ كَذَلِكَ يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So whoever Allah wants to guide, He expands His breast to contain him, to contain Islam. And whoever He wants to send astray, meaning because of their deeds, because they want it, as a result of the person's arrogance and persistence in sin, yeah, He makes his breast tight and constricted as though he were climbing into the sky. كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ, like he is climbing to the sky. Thus does Allah place defilement, paliti, napaki, yeah, upon those who do not believe. Does that make sense? This is how difficult it becomes. It becomes tough for these people to choose the right path. They cannot comprehend. They will have so many insecurities if they was just to choose the right path. Like we have the right path of choosing to live in a rented house rather than living in a mortgage house. Yeah, does that make sense? If you cannot buy, the rented is better, even though there are so many insecurities. But this person, it will be a tough situation. It will be difficult. It will be like the guy is climbing to the sky. Yeah, does the mentality make sense? What we're saying here? Yeah. If he believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forget him living on the rent. He will be ready to live on the street, but he will not break the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will be content with whatever Allah gives to him, even if he eats for one day and the second day he does not have anything. But as long as he is true with Allah. If he is not true with Allah, this person will have ration for at least 5 years, but he will still have insecurities. He will be still mounting upon mounting, and he will have cars and shops and upon shops, but he will be still expanding on this interest-based business basically, yeah, and so on. He said just one example. وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى. Ayah number 11. And what will his wealth avail him when he falls? Either he falls in the grave, die basically, or fall in Jahannam. What this going to do? The thing that he gave up for Allah, the one who gave up on Allah for this thing will give up on them when it becomes the time of need for it. Yeah, when it goes to qabr, when it goes to akhirah. These things will not benefit. And Allah has given amazing example in the Quran. We have limited time, so we'll continue forward. Yeah? Ayah number 12. Inna alayna lal huda. Indeed, upon us is guidance. Yeah, from here Allah gives the tools for you to differentiate the right and the wrong. Take this Quran, take this, the guidance that Allah has sent to you. So we said there are various types of guidances, yeah. The four different that we talked about in the previous lesson. Those who are aware, they are aware. Those who don't, basically, you have given the capacity, you now need to choose. And Allah has mentioned this same thing in a different place. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ قَصْدُ السَّبِيلِ. And upon Allah is the direction of the way. Meaning, Allah has made this on Himself that He gives guidance. You are aware of the right and wrong. You can choose. You have the capacities. You have the tools. Or the other way is the only path, the only straight that leads to. It is only the one which leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayah number 13. وَإِنَّ لَنَا لَلْآخِرَةَ وَالْأُولَى. And indeed to us belong the hereafter and the first. In here there are opinions whether it applies to the dunya and akhirah, or it applies to the current condition or the latter condition. So if we relate it to dunya and akhirah, it makes sense, it is easy to understand. And whatever you, no matter what you're going to do in this dunya, you will not have this satisfaction. You will always have things to achieve. Your arman will never come to an end, basically. Yeah, you will always have something to do, no matter who you are. You will have insecurities, you will have problems, you have work problem, you have protection problem, you will have status problem, you will have health problem, so many problems upon problems. Yeah, from this cell, the drop, the sperm that is started, it starts from the problems all the way the guy till dies. These problems upon problems. Yeah. So in this dunya, it's never going to be always better. The akhirah is better in that sense. Yeah, there is no doubt about that. But now, if he's talking about the current state of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah, to link it to his life, it is the way, because this is early time, yeah, early time of Makkah, where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going, his people, companions are going through too many struggles, too many issues, and so on. People are coming from left and right, and he is alone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this current state, that just imagine, even after so many years da'wah in the Makkah, yeah, he had so many few people that when he was migrating, he had to migrate hiddenly. Yeah, and he had Abu Bakr anhu, our guide, and so on. Yeah, or Abdul Rahman, the son of Abu Bakr anhu, who was there to help, and so on. But they were like two people. Yeah, so the one which come in this era, two people that left in Hijrah. They had to leave their own homeland. After few years later, which is Akhirah, later on, they came in marching with 10,000 soldiers under the thing with the flag, or with Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those people were humble. These mighty people were humble. So how? وَإِنَّ لَنَا لَلْآخِرَةَ وَالْأُولَى. So the akhirah, the one which is coming later on, is better. And we have seen what the Sahaba has achieved. Who were they and what they did. Yeah, so it is better in that sense for Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But for akhirah, we can understand that way as well. And there are so many other things, but we leave. Yeah, we can link this even with the example of Thamud, basically, that Allah gave in the previous surah, but we leave that. Yeah, going to ayah number 14. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ نَارًا تَلَظَّى. So I have warned you of a fire which is blazing, meaning it cannot become any more hotter. Yeah, this is the strength of it. This is it reaches limit. But there is a thing. Yeah, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives warning? What is the benefit? There are few. Number one, if the criminals, the oppressors, are not threatened, then it leads to further corruption in the land. Is that rational? Yeah, it makes sense. They need to be threatened, otherwise it leads to further corruption. If the real image of these people is not brought to the public, they remain models, they remain public figures, so they have to be exposed. So this is another reason. If they are not disgraced, other people will follow their footsteps. Yeah, so they have to be disgraced as well. If they are not brought to account, the weak have been oppressed. The zulm has been done on the weak if the zalim is not brought to account. So they have to be brought. So there is the need of punishment and warnings. Ayah number 15. لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى. None will burn therein except the most wretched one. So it says illa, except. And there is, the ulama have their own opinions. Yeah, like they always have opinions. So they give one opinion, meaning this only relates to the time of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ashqa are only at that time. Why? Because Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is giving da'wah, and the Quran is being revealed right in front of them. Mu'jizat are shown to them. but they still reject. How dare they reject this? Yeah, so these are the worst scumbag of the society of the time, that they deny Prophet on his face. So these are la ashqa, that they will be going into this Jahannam, basically this special place. This is one opinion, but this is not a strong opinion. Why we have the Quran with us? They should have been revealed and left with them. Yeah, why the Quran is with us? This part then it causes a problem. Yeah, this is for every single tyrant who rejects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the biggest truth of someone's fitrah is that they know there is a creator, there is a master. They can just look at anything they can imagine. Yeah, from bottles, from mice and everything, they can come there. There is a designer, there is a creator. So how can I come and pop to this dunya without any other meaning, cleverness, yeah, craftsmanship or design or controller? It does not make sense. So this is the biggest truth this person denies. For him is the biggest of the crime. So it relates to that. I'll give you examples so you can understand. Yeah, a child who comes in peace in the masjid, can he be ignored? Can he be tolerated? Yes or no? Yes, man. It's the child. What are you going to do with the child? But now the Imam Sahib does it. What do you think? Yeah? Does that make sense? Allah says in here, Inna alayna lal huda. Allah has put guidance in you. You know, and on top of that you reject. How dare you reject? So for you is Jahannam. Does that make sense? You have reached the capacity, you know everything throughout, you know A to Z, but still you reject. For you is the worst of the place. These are for the worst of the criminals. Yeah. It continues the next ayah. And Allah explains it. Yeah, we don't even have to say that the other opinion was wrong. It was not right. Allah says, الَّذِي كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى, who had denied and turned away. الَّذِي كَذَّبَ أي بقلبه, وتولى أي عن العمل بجواره وأركانه, as says Tafseer ibn Kathir, meaning the one who does takdeeb, who kadhaba, who deny, is by his heart. Watawalla is his amal, that he does with his body parts and things like that. So he denies it with his heart as well as with his actions. So he belies even with his tongue, and then he follows it with his behavior as well. Does that make sense? He's full blown out scumbag. Yeah, does that make sense? Is that here? We here? Okay. And there are other things, but one hadith, yeah, which will help you understand the hadith basically. Yeah, it comes, which Bukhari, it says عن أبي هريرة أن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم قال كل أمتي يدخلون الجنة إلا من أبى قالوا يا رسول الله ومن يأبى قال من أطاعني دخل الجنة ومن عصاني فقد أبى. Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم said, been narrated according to him, to Bukhari, all my followers will enter paradise except those who refuse. Say, remember, yeah, refuse. They said, oh Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will refuse? He said, whoever obeys me will enter paradise, and whoever disobeys me is the one who refuses. What does that say? Refuse, meaning he knows what is right, what is wrong. That's why he refuses. Otherwise, it would say the one who does not know will go to Jahannam, yeah, but this is not the right way, yeah. The one who refuses, meaning he have understood, he understand what is right, what is wrong. That's why he does aba. That's why he refuses. That's why he does tawalla. He turns away from the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayah number 17. وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى, but the righteous one will avoid it. And in here is even beautiful, yeah. It doesn't even say illa. Meaning in there that was the vicious criminals, the vicious of the criminals that will go and they will be there for eternally. In here it says, وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى, but the righteous one will avoid it. Even it relates to that this is the rahmah, the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Despite those people who are striving, but they are making errors, they're going through difficulties, they are finding it hard sometimes, yeah. They make sins and then they repent, they make sins and things like that. They are striving. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has safeguarded them, that these are the people from taqwa as well. Ayah number 18. الَّذِي يُؤْتِي مَالَهُ يَتَزَكَّى. This is first quality of this person, yeah, of these righteous people. He who gives from his wealth, yeah, from his wealth to purify himself. أي يصرف ماله في طاعة ربه ليزكي نفسه وماله وما وهب الله من دين ودنيا. Tafseer ibn Kathir, he spends his wealth in obedience of his Lord in order to purify himself, his wealth, and whatever Allah has bestowed upon him of religion and worldly things. So some ulama links this with that it was revealed because of Bakr Zaoud, and they have their own ways of understanding and things like that. But we leave that. We don't need to narrate those stories. Allahu alam, whatever they are, whether they're right or wrong, that's not for us to decide basically. But there is a very interesting point in here, that these people who give to purify himself, Tafsir Sa'adi, he talks about this basically, and he talks in great details, but we don't have time, so I'll just mention quickly. A person who spends, for example, someone, he says the masjid needs, some people come together and pay for the bills, and people come together and they pay for the bills, and they have their own money, they already have money, but they still want more money for people to pay the bills. So you go and give sadaqah. This is one kind of spending. But this one that is talks about, this is compulsory. Like you have orphans, you have your neighbors who are need, they're in poverty. Now you're giving to the masjid the rent, even though they have the money. This is sadaqah, this is optional, that one is farad. You're meant to do that first. Does that make sense? So that's what's going to purify your nafs. The fard, which are compulsory, the other are that it gives benefits, it gives sadaqat. Like a person who recites Quran, just recitation, normal, and the one who understands. The understanding of it is fard, while the just recitation of it, you get some sort of ajr for it. Does that make sense? But the understanding of it is fard. Those people who prioritize just reading Quran over the understanding of Quran, they are in wrong. They're not going to get yatazakka, they're not going to get purification. Does that make sense? So understanding, meaning you prioritize which is compulsory over that which is optional. So this is yatazakka. And in here, the other, some ulama say that, for example, a pious person who works, you work in a taxi basically, or you work as a security guard and things like that. Sometime you do not complete your patrols, you do not do the things, and maybe sometime on the seat while you're sitting and looking at things, and you slide away. So your concentration is gone from your duty, so you haven't fulfilled that. Or maybe you're a taxi driver and you take long route by mistake or whatever, things happen. This person is so fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he gives wealth, he gives money from his wealth what he has earned, because he fears that there might be something filthy in my earning because of my lack of concentration, or maybe I have done something wrong. So he purifies. Does that make sense? So this is the way the pious people work. Ayah number 19. وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى, and not for anyone who has a favor to be rewarded. So he does not do it because someone has done something good to him. Like nowadays, this is our attitude. I have to go to someone's wedding because he came to my wedding. I have to go to someone's invite because he came to my invite. If I don't, he's not going to come to me, he's not going to come to my dad, he's not going to celebrate with me and things like that. So I have to do that. This is wrong attitude. This is not a Muslim does. He does it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. It does not mean you don't go there. This is not the attitude you're talking about, but this is not the reason you do it. Does that make sense? Yeah? The reason you do it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the next. إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى, but only seeking the face, acceptance of his Lord Most High. These are the people, these are the people who are seeking the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وُجُوهُ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ, so they will have radiance over their faces when they see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this has come in different places. I think Surah Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains their situation. Because they worked for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah gave them pleasure on Day of Judgment. Ayah number 21. وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى, and he is going to be satisfied. Just this one word, satisfied, yarda, this is sufficient. You can write an entire book on what kind of benefits it includes and so on. So this one is just by itself is sufficient, but you can understand in two ways. One, وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى, and he is going to be satisfied. Either this person whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shower favors upon favors, he will be satisfied, or Allah will be happy with his action. So both way it works. Now there is ayah in Surah Insan, يُوفُونَ بِالنَّذِرِ وَيَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا كَانَ شَرُّهُ مُسْتَطِيرًا. You can learn the 5 ayahs. I'm not going to do it. I meant to do that so you can understand the tafsir of these 5 ayahs that we have done so far. That is actually the explanation of these. So you start from يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا. Count 5 ayats, and the last 5 ayats of this surah are beautifully linked, and they explain each other in that fashion. But let's go to the linking, yeah? Beginning and the ending of this surah. The time is very short, but let me tell you, yeah, how can we link? The first 2 ayats we can link with the last 2 ayats. We can link the first 2 and the last 2. We can link the first 3 and the last 3, and we can link the first 4 and the last 4 in all different ways. That's how beautifully the surah is coherent. But because of the time and because you are tired and you are hungry, we will leave that part and we will do something very simple. The ayah which is in the middle, the ayah which is in the middle, which ayah is in the middle? وَمَا يُغْنِي, ayah number 11, yeah? وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى. This wealth, the thing that he worked for, everything that he sows his life in. This will be the situation of a person who does not take heed from these signs which are mentioned at the beginning, and he does not work which I have mentioned at the end. He does not take heed from the things that have been mentioned at the beginning, and he does not work that has been mentioned at the end of the surah. Does that make sense? So the entire surah is beautiful, coherent, and all the ayahs was so beautiful. But because we don't have time, yeah? Wallahu alam. May Allah accept from you. May Allah keep you with the Quran. May Allah never deprive you from Quran and His mercy in this dunya and neither in akhirah. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al-azim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr.